Greetings all, Nippon B here, and welcome to the first game with our Skaven passing team, agility team, Flea. Our first game we happen to be playing against a starting chaos team, so on paper it looks to be a fairly decent start for us. Chaos, unfortunately, are one of the harder teams to actually get started with, having no rerolls or no skills other than their 4-strength Chaos Warriors being really kind of nasty. And horns on the beastmen. But that being said, Chaos tend to be the epitome of what I call, my make them roll dice and hopefully they fail. So that being said, we're getting ready to start this game, and as I said previously in the introduction to Skaven, for this agility team, given the opportunity, I'm always going to choose to play defense first, and that's what I've done here. As you'll notice during my setup, you're required to have 3 players on the middle of the field on this line of scrimmage. For Skaven, with this particular team at least, it's always going to be 3 linemen who have either no skills, block or fend, something like that. But they're punching bags, so they're going to just get hit. Again, the reason we wanted to go ahead and start on defense is ideally we're going to have more players right now and still be able to hopefully score if we do lose out some. I do have my thrower on the bench right now, so we do have our backup player. Again, that's why we start with 12 on this team. And the kickoff chart says quick snap. Ooh. Unfortunately, my opponent, I feel, makes a couple mistakes when doing this quick snap. They don't follow up into the zones, and they could have really kind of put me in a world of hurt by taking a couple extra hits that I was trying to avoid by setting up the way I had. So as it was, they still only got to really hit, the 4 players that I'm normally going to allow them to hit. 3 on the front line and, with their blitz. And, with the new Chaos start, well, I should say with the change of the Chaos rerolls, which is done a while back, I guess. I've been playing for way too many years. They're able to start with 3 rerolls, which does help them to a degree. The fact that they managed to pick up the ball on the kickoff is kind of sad. That's always one of my hopes, is that we're going to see them fail to pick up the ball, and because that's where starting Chaos really tend to struggle, is getting the ball picked up. And we start off with a KO. See? And we're already losing players. Now the downside here, because of the strength disadvantage, there's going to be a lot of times where I'm forced into unadvisable blocks. And in this case, we just get a push result. But again, I leave my gutter runner right next to a guy, which I feel kind of bad about. And, okay, here's where we try and make the argument that 2 rerolls aren't enough. But as exampled here, I re-rolled into a single skull again. 1 die block with block skill is not a horrible opportunity against a no block piece. I mean, even if I got a push result or something, it would have allowed me, possibly to do something. But and just so you're wondering, this is a replay, so that, it goes a little bit faster. The game itself, to play, it takes about an hour. With a replays like this, it's about 30 minutes to watch. You don't have to see all the thought processes and everything that go into the game. Hopefully it makes it a little bit easier to watch and hopefully a little more entertaining. We'll see about that. Here we get to watch the Chaos just kind of wreck me. Again, with Skaven, you've got to have people in tackle zones. You've got to make them roll dice just on the hope that something is going to go wrong for them. Skaven really will capitalize And like with them hitting my gutter runners, the only way they're going to knock my gutter runners down is on an open star. They are not able to take away their dodge, and they don't have block skill. Unfortunately, because of their strength, they have managed to get a couple of 3-die blocks, which took gutter runners down. And we go from, getting knocked down to knocking them out. Well, stunning them. Still a nice change. And then we roll the doubles. So again, 2 turns and I roll 2 bad results. And that honestly was a mistake on my part. I should have pushed him. I shouldn't have pushed the ball carrier back, I don't think, in that regard. Yeah. Now you are going to find yourself, again, open star, getting the 3 dice is really painful. You are going to find yourself playing Skaven, oftentimes having players laying around the field. Again, because of the 7 move, you're still not as bad off as a lot of other teams in that situation. And, by putting, sometimes actually you're better off having a couple of players laying down on the ground. They can't foul them all at once, so, if they should decide to start fouling, they have to pick and choose. Though in a starting game like this, when both teams are going to be short on players, although in our case we do actually have another player, if we should decide to foul, that is a viable option for us. But while your chaos is moving right now in their blocks, you want to be able to keep applying pressure to them. You don't want to let them stall and effectively hold you off and unable to score. Hopefully, you can continue to do stuff that is going to make them not want to stand around. And we rolled the 1. To stand around and just pound on you. And these guys have done fairly well keeping their box moving, and for which I appreciate. I have seen dwarf teams and stuff, and even their chaos teams that box up and they only move a space or 2 a turn, and at least these guys are trying to push it. To a degree. And we lost Storm Vermin. And they are getting a lot of hits on us. Maybe it's my coaching style. Unfortunately, with Skaven, I don't feel like there's a lot of opportunities to dodge away. I've seen people do it, but I don't trust 3+ dodges. Too much opportunity to fail, and we go for the foul because we have the option and we're not pushing. And nets as a KO, and we don't get kicked out. Call that success. Normally I do like to try and have one piece stand back no matter what in a scoring position. And so that's why this gutter runner is staying in the back here. You never know what's going to happen, and Skaven team, you can make it from this end zone to the other end zone in one turn. So it's nice to have that as an option at least. Man, they will just not stop rolling open stars against those 4 gutter runners, will they? Although I have to say, in terms of this game, I've gotten fairly lucky with my armor rolls and such. And I don't know that he had meant to do that, but, you know, used his reroll, and that helps us ultimately. Again, this is where we're going to keep trying to put pressure onto the ball carrier if we can get it to pan out. Yay, open stars for us. Now with this, I'm just hoping, because I'm standing next to the ball carrier, we're going to force him into some situations where he's going to have to roll dice. The fact that he chose to hit me with the ball carrier was actually kind of surprising to me. Because I do have block and he didn't. But it worked out. He got me stunned. Yeah, Chaos Warrior dropkick is just something fierce to see. I guess I should say we've been lucky with the injuries, not so much with the armor checks, because we are getting busted and stunned all over the place. So. Okay, in this instance, we're not going to be able to stop this and go in and grab it, so I've pulled this guy back in order to help maybe get some hits on these Chaos Warriors. But now, because I've got this guy on the sidelines, I'm going to have to bring this gutter runner up in order to keep him from being able to push me out of bounds, hopefully. Yeah, getting knocked down here was better off than... I could have tried the dodge for a 3+ with a dodge reroll. But, you know, if I could have blitzed him off, pushed him back maybe, and dodged away, would have been better. But... Ooh, going for it. 1 in 6 chance that seems to fail about 50% of the time. Statistically, it just doesn't seem to work out. Yeah, and right there, actually, if he had hit me with that Chaos Beastman, he could have knocked my gutter runner out of bounds. But he missed that opportunity, unfortunately for him, lucky for me. I'm glad my opponent missed that. And looking at it, I guess this guy did end up holding the ball for this turn. But we get to do some retaliation now. Or at least attempt it. And now we're setting up Chaos Warriors to go out into the fans. Take that armor check. Oh yeah, we get a knockdown and a Chaos Warrior out of bounds. Goody go. Ooh, and an armor break for this one as well. KO'd, yes. And the fans do nothing. Just stun him. Alright. But still, all in all, a successful turn. We got 2 Chaos Warriors off the field in 1 turn. So hopefully that's going to convince... Well, it's just going to be his turn 8, so he's going to... call that as it is. Alright, so he did what every Chaos team is hopefully trying to do. Hold the ball until turn 8, get the score, not leave me any opportunity. Again, this is one of those reasons why one of your gutter runners you hopefully will develop is going to be a one-turn score piece. With that, you can use, with the sprint and sure feet in a normal gutter runner, if you get a quick snap result, you can score in one turn. Or if you get really lucky and have a 10 moving gutter runner and get the sprint and sure feet, then you're really set. So my opponent doesn't seem to know what he's doing right now in terms of how he's going to set up his defense for a one turn. I mean, theoretically we could have a riot and gain a turn back, and I would have 2 up turns to score, which would be nice, but this being a replay, I happen to know that's not the case and doesn't happen, so. Alright, so when you find yourself with one turn, I recommend here is take your blocks that are likely to succeed, just to see what you can get. Maybe you can slap an injury or 2. And then you want to make sure you get at least 1 point with a pass out of this. See, in this case we got a quick snap. If we had sprint, we would have had an opportunity to score. But it does provide us with an opportunity to hit an extra person. So. I guess we're throwing open stars right now, so I can't complain a whole lot. And busted armors. Ooh, mean rats today. Now again, when you're in slop time like this, you just want to take as many hits as you can and then try and get points on your pieces. In this case, we're going to complete a pass with gutter runner. Here's where I was thinking about doing another foul. And see, this is why I don't trust 3+ dodges. Okay, so we've made it to halftime, and Chaos team is pretty well, things going pretty well. Oh, and both their Chaos Warriors come back. That would have been nice. Things are going pretty much as they would like it to go, I imagine. Because of the way this team is set up, I don't generally try to hold the ball with it. We do go for quick scores. Again, we're also always looking for our opponents to fail an opportunity. That's how this team tends to succeed. Now, these guys have a really nice defense in terms of covering both sides. Because of the way they're set up, though, I'm going to go ahead and push one side, because these guys are not going to be able to get over in time in order to contribute against this offense at all. That's one of the downfalls of starting so far away, or starting on a balanced defense. You'll notice my defenses tend to be centered in the middle of the field, so I can react to either side depending on how they push, especially against a Skaven team that can reverse field on you very quickly. It doesn't take a lot, just one push, and, jailbreak is on. Everybody run through now. Granted, it would have been nicer if, you know, the beastman had fallen down, broken his neck, and died, but that didn't happen. Now, this is another hallmark of my offense, though, is the thrower or the ball holder is going to stay back from the line of scrimmage and away from everybody being able to get to them until such time as they're able to move up and pass the ball off. What I was going for is, I tell you, they're, 50% chance of 1 in 6. And now it looks like my dodge is finally going to start coming into play. And whoosh. And block is bad when you don't have it. So unfortunately, we've got 3 Chaos Warriors against 3 Gutter Runners. This is not an ideal situation for us. Yeah, it's... we're not going to be able to push them off. And again, failing 1-die blocks, which, again, not unheard of. Unfortunately, because of the way these teams are set up, I am going to be forced into doing some risky maneuvers in that regard. But now we do the line dance. They will have an interception opportunity, but they fail it, and we make our catch for a 3. And then it's just a dodge for a 2, and touchdown. Makes offense look easy, doesn't it? Unfortunately, well, I keep saying unfortunately, and I apologize, guys. That is, a situation where you have to make your die rolls. I didn't have a reroll there. It was kind of risky, but I had put myself in a position where it was kind of all or nothing. They were going to start really pounding on the Gutter Runners at that point. So if I had failed that die roll, things would have been very differently. Again, I am always looking for my opponents to fail a die roll, but I'm trying to put myself in positions where I'm not required to make bad die rolls. Rolling for a 3, in my opinion, is almost always a bad die roll. And we got lucky there, and I'll admit it wholeheartedly. See, this is what I'm looking for. Chaos failing to pick up the ball, and unfortunately they had the re-rolls. Lots of re-rolls. They're still at 3. I think they get 2 re-rolls off of their kickoff charts in this half, so... Yeah, and that's what I was really hoping for. And we get a turnover result. And get a piece off the field. Very helpful in this situation. Now, ideally, we're going to be able to punch a hole in here and try to get back to the ball carrier. Or at least tie things up so that the ball carrier is not able to punch through here. And really, I just set this up kind of poorly. So again, I'm looking at 1-die block and skull. Yep. Like I said, this team, and especially against the Chaos, because of the 4 strengths, we are looking at a lot of 1-die blocks. It's just too many resources in order to try and get up on those Chaos Warriors. Oops, we're losing. Yeah. See, unfortunately, well, there was an opportunity in that previous play where if we could have broken through here and put a little pressure on the ball carrier, that's what this team is looking for. Just little opportunities like that to, you know, cause my opponent to rush how they're playing or change their style of play and hopefully give us access to the ball. You know, right now he's not managed to set up a very effective cage. But it's good enough we're not going to be able to get around this turn. But we're going to keep putting pressure and trying to get towards the ball carrier. And we get an injury on a lineman. That's always nice. And, of course, this particular Chaos team is starting without an apothecary, so they're taking a little bit of a risk there. But only a little bit. They got lucky starting against a Skaven team that doesn't really hit a whole lot. Here's where we got a little greedy. Lineman didn't matter all that much. That's why I left him on the sidelines. But ultimately, I think it's going to end up costing him. Yeah, with Skaven, particularly with the edge team or the passing team, the gutter runners, oh yeah. And this is why we have 12 players. That's a lineman. He is not going to get apothecaried. We have more important pieces that need to be secured and saved. But with, as I was saying, with gutter runners on this team, they will do miraculous things. I know war dancers are considered the best piece in the game starting out, you know, well, even oftentimes just staying the best piece in the game. For me, though, gutter runners make the world go round. They will go in and they will do things that no other piece will attempt. And here we go, we're getting ready to set up our gutter runner assault. This is why we have 4 of them. So we've utilized 3 of the gutter runners right now to make this one die block happen, and it's an open star. Because when gutter runners show up, they don't do it right. And we stun the ball carrier, yay! Alright, so now we just got to get this Chaos Warrior pushed back, and we have our 4th gutter runner who is about to take his action. Yep, had to use my dodge roll, but picked it up for a 3. And here we go stupid. We're going to go for it. And go for it again. See, normally that would be a failing die roll. Just because. Yeah, I don't know if he had meant to do that. Again. Dodging with Chaos Warriors. And granted, they have a 3 agility. It's bad. But because he did that, I am able to hold the ball. Now, I'm not normally a huge advocate of holding the ball, but when there's 3 turns left, you don't want to give Chaos an opportunity to tie the game. It is a game-winning situation. Again, where he was holding the ball in the first half, I completely understand. I mean, I would rather score touchdowns, but in order to make sure I have the win in this situation, I felt I needed to hold the ball, and by virtue of him failing his first die roll out, gave me that opportunity. And it's time to play Push the Gutter Runners. This is what we were hoping was happening in the first half and didn't. And now the dice have really kind of turned on him, so. Yeah, that movement was 2 go-for-its in there, so he's running as far as he can. And so's that one. And since he rolled the skull, he's got to go down. So this again leaves us with 2 turns left. Now I could score here, but that'd give him 2 turns of bashing on me when I'm not necessarily set up for it. So we're going to get away from this Chaos Warrior. He can't touch us at this point. And then we're going to try and bring this Beastman either down or at least tie him up so much that he's not going to be able to be a threat. Of course, I realize setting this Gutter Runner up here means that if I push him, he's not going to be standing in the tackle zone that I want him to be. So we bring the other one down in order to provide some additional support. And just to be safe, we're going to put a tackle zone on the Chaos Warrior. Again, rolling for 3s is never a sure thing in my book, and I don't like doing it. Other people may try it, but again, it's only when it's absolutely necessary that I'm going to do it. For some reason, I feel okay rolling for 2s, although those fail so often, it's, you know, statistically anomalous. So that puts us up 2-1, and this game is in hand, and end is ours. We're going to set up for our defense. We did, again, let its lineman die. And because we're setting up with only 1 turn left, we're going to leave 3 linemen up. And the way things are set up, we have 4 linemen right now, one of which actually has points, so he's going to be invited to stand on the back line with us in order to be safe and not be sacrificed up to the Chaos Gods. So in this situation, like at the end of our first half, I would have, I would recommend him keeping somebody back and at least trying to get some points by completing a short or quick pass. Especially with Chaos teams, getting all the points you can, especially in the first couple of games, is very tough, and you got to take everything you can. I mean, he does have rerolls right now, so it's completely feasible to do so. And this is looking like we're going to get hit with a foul to end the game. Oh, blocks. No fouls. Alright, so that's our first game with Flea, Bitten, our Skaven passing team. We did play, I felt, against a fairly decent Chaos coach with the Order of Chaos. Stats on the game show, we managed to complete 2 passes, again getting more points. We completed 32 blocks, which is actually fairly high for me. I am normally somewhere in the 20-25 range. They'd sustained 50 blocks against me. That's more normal, I'm afraid. Again, the way I play, some people are going to take exception with, and, eventually it does bite me in the ass, I'll admit it. The way points broke down, because one of my gutter runners completed the pass, he got the MVP and was able to get a skill roll, and the other 2 are gutter runners here, and then my lineman who got the injury. Looking back at the team, you can see I did get 1 gutter runner to skill up, and his first skill was a 10 movement. So we've already started on our 1-turn score piece. Now we're looking at getting sprint, followed by sure feet, and 4th skill for him is going to be block, assuming he lives that long. Granted, he's a rocket on fire, and he will be targeted. We'll see how things progress going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, give us a like. It always helps out. Post your comments down below. I always look forward to seeing those, hearing your ideas, and we look forward to doing game number 2 with this team. I will be posting sometime soon. Black Death played their first game as well. I hope you guys will follow along with that. We did repurchase the linemen, so we are at 20,000 going into our next game, and still 12 players. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great evening.